today is Africa Day. As an African, I am very excited. And the commemoration of the establishment of Organization of African Unity on the 25th of May, 1963. Though it's been a tough period, not only in Africa, but in the world because of the coronavirus pandemic. But today I am excited because we are live with a Pan-Africanist. His name is Professor Patrick Lotieno Ochi Lumumba, all the way from Kenya. Patrick Lumumba is a lawyer and former director of Kenya School of Laws, and also served as director of Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission. But what's so important about him is a professor of law and a Pan-Africanist. Welcome to the show, Professor Patrick Lumumba.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this show.
Thank you so much for joining us today on a very big day.
Thank you.
All right, so Professor, before we dwell deep into the questions, I just want to know who named the continent Africa and what was the reason behind the name?
There are many views out there as to how the continent acquired a name. There are those who attribute the name Africa to an individual called Africa who had Greek origin. There are also those who claim that it is some Arab tribe that gave the continent. I hold the view that whatever happened in those early days of yore, we need not drown ourselves in history. We have over the years embraced the name Africa. It is part of us and it defines our vision. And going forward, simply should accept that we are Africans who have a deep desire to do the things that will benefit us. For is it not the English word arose by any other name is still arose?
So as a Pan-Africanist, what does Africa Day mean to you and what is its significance?
Africa Day must be understood as the day when Africa celebrates her independence. But it must be remembered that on the 25th day of May, 1963, only 32 African leaders, heads of states and government gathered in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. At that time, a number of countries had not regained their independence. Angola was still under colonial tutelage. Mozambique was also under colonial tutelage. Zimbabwe, then known as Rhodesia, was still under the claws of Ian Smith's regime. And South Africa was still deeply under apartheid, as indeed was Namibia. Over the years, of course, we have now regained independence, with South Africa regaining her independence in 1994. So on that day, the leaders celebrated the countries that have regained their independence, but also rededicated themselves to liberate the countries that had not gained their independence. And it is instructive that the Liberation Committee of Africa was then created and established in Dar es Salaam. It is therefore a day when we as Africans can afford to thump our chest and tell those who enslaved us and colonized us that you can no longer colonize us, that we may be suffering. But as Ahmed Sekou Toure once said, we prefer freedom in slavery rather than riches in poverty. That is why Africa Day is important.
Interesting, Professor. And you've been very critical of the male-dominated political leadership in Africa since it is Africa Day. I'm a woman. Don't you think that Africa stands to gain with more women in powerful leadership positions? Don't you think it can fundamentally change the way Africa is run?
That without doubt, and nobody can debate with that. In fact, as early as the 1960s, some of the founding fathers were very clear in their mind that we cannot exclude over 50% of our population in policy making. And there have been very many initiatives across the continent which were clearly designed to ensure that African women are included in several policy-making decisions, not by way of tokenism, but by way of proper integration. And I'm happy to report now that although on a scale of 1%, we have still only performed at 3 at the very best, there is evidence across the continent that women are now playing leading roles. Go to Rwanda, and more than half of the cabinet is composed of women. Go to Ethiopia, the president is a woman. Go to the United Republic of Tanzania, the vice president is a woman. Go to Liberia, the vice president is a woman. Go to many other countries, you find women are serving as ministers of health, ministers of defense, ministers for foreign affairs. They are envoys in different parts of the world. And even in industry, we have women who are performing in a celebrated way. Women must be given their pride of place because, like the black and white piano, in the piano, it is women and men who constitute society, working shoulder to shoulder. They can help catapult our continent to the orbit of socio-economic and political development.
All right, Professor. And majority of Africans have lost hope in the Africa Union. They believe the Union is just a toothless dog, which has lost its power because of selfish ambitions of African leaders. How do you think the AU can regain the lost glory? And on that note, I still want to ask you, Professor, there's been a petition going around from Africans all over the world for you to be made the next AU chair, along Ambassador and Dr. Arikana Chihombori. What is your take, and would you gladly oblige to serve in that way?
First of all, let us accept that the African Union has had a long history. Created as the Organization of the African Union in 1963, it was found to have failed in delivering the original agenda. And that is why at a meeting in Sirte in Libya, under the chairmanship of the late Muammar al-Gaddafi, it was suggested that it be renamed as the African Union and be reformed. And ultimately, in Durban, in South Africa, in the year 2002, the AU replaced the OAU. And subsequently, of course, it has also been recognized that even the AU had weaknesses. And that is why in 2016, the Summit of Heads of States and Government empowered President Paul Kagame of Rwanda to suggest certain reforms. And as I speak to you, the Kagame reforms are in the process of being implemented. For that reason, I believe that the organization can be made stronger. If indeed, speaking metaphorically, it is a toothless bulldog, it can be given teeth. And it is our duty as Africans not only to condemn and criticize, but to critique and make suggestions for its reform. It can be done, and it must be done, and it is being done.
Professor,
I have become aware, as you've asked, about the petition going the rounds for myself and Dr. Arikana Chihombori to be considered to serve Africa at the level of the AU. We are not privy to it, but we do not oppose it either, because we believe that fellow Africans of goodwill think that we may have a contribution to make. And as is said in Latin, vox populi, vox Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Perhaps Africans of goodwill think that we ought to be given an opportunity to serve at a more practical level. If it comes to pass, we will serve. If it doesn't, we'll continue with what we have been doing. Africa
okay, Professor,
can be served in different ways.